Am I the butthole for telling my wife I don't want to raise another man's child? I never imagined I'd be in this situation, but here I am. I'm Jake, M29, married to Olivia, F28, for 5 years. We've always had a good relationship, trust, love, laughter, all of it. Or so I thought. Everything was going great. We were building a life together, planning our future, and feeling secure. But then, out of nowhere, Olivia dropped a bombshell on me that completely flipped my world upside down. It happened about a month ago. I had just come back from work, exhausted, and Olivia seemed more serious than usual. She said she had something to tell me that she had been holding on to for a while. At first, I thought maybe she wanted to talk about something minor, like an issue with her job or some personal concern. But no, this was way bigger than I could have imagined. She sat me down, took a deep breath, and told me that when she was 19, she had a child. I was stunned. I had no idea. We talked about our pasts a lot during our relationship, but she had never mentioned anything like this before. She said her daughter's name was Emily, and that she had given her up for adoption when she was just a teenager. I had so many questions running through my mind. Why was this the first I was hearing about it? How had I never known? Why didn't she tell me sooner? Olivia explained that when she was 19, she had found out she was pregnant. Her family was very traditional, and they pressured her to give the baby up for adoption. She had wanted to keep Emily, but felt that she had no choice at the time. It was a hard decision, and it had haunted her for years. But the real shock came when Olivia told me that Emily, now 13, had recently contacted her. After all these years, Olivia's daughter had reached out. Apparently, Emily's adoptive parents were going through a divorce, and she had been struggling. She had found Olivia's contact information and wanted to get to know her. Olivia told me that Emily needed her, and that this was her chance to make up for lost time. I was floored. How had I not known about this? Olivia had never mentioned it before. To say I was caught off guard would be an understatement. Olivia went on to explain that Emily wanted to meet her, and that she was feeling lost and alone because of her family's issues. She also said that Emily wanted to meet me as well, but Olivia was careful not to push that part too hard, knowing it might be too much for me. I'll admit, I didn't know what to say. I was completely thrown off. On one hand, I understood that Olivia had always carried guilt about giving up her daughter. But on the other hand, I had never signed up to be a father to a child who wasn't mine. I didn't know Emily. I didn't know how to feel about all this. I never thought I would be in a situation where I had to suddenly accept a child into my life who was biologically linked to my wife but had no connection to me. Olivia was very insistent, telling me that Emily wasn't just a random kid. She was her flesh and blood, and Olivia wanted to be there for her. She was crying, explaining how she felt guilty for giving Emily up in the first place, and now that Emily was reaching out, Olivia didn't want to turn her back on her. She said this was her chance to be the mother she couldn't be all those years ago. It all made sense in a way. I could understand Olivia's desire to reconnect with her daughter, but this whole situation was overwhelming to me. Here's the problem. I don't want to raise another man's child. I love Olivia, but this wasn't what I signed up for. I never thought I'd be in a position where I would have to suddenly be a father figure to a child who wasn't mine. And it's not just the idea of raising Emily. It's the fact that everything in my life just shifted without my input. Olivia had kept this secret from me for all these years, and now she expected me to immediately accept a child I'd never met into our home, into our lives. I told Olivia I wasn't ready for this. I told her that I loved her, but that I wasn't emotionally prepared to step into a role I wasn't ready for. I didn't feel like I could just open my heart to Emily because she was Olivia's daughter. I didn't know how to do that. I also said I wasn't sure if I could be the father she needed after all these years of separation. And on top of all of that, there was the issue of Emily herself. She's 13 years old. How would I know how to parent her? Would she even want me to be her father? What if she resented me? It felt like so many unknowns, and the responsibility seemed overwhelming. Olivia, understandably, was upset. She said I was being selfish, that I didn't understand how important this was to her. She kept saying that if I really loved her, I would understand why she needed to do this. She needed to be a mother to Emily, and I needed to support her, but I just wasn't ready for that. I told her that I wasn't against Emily being in our lives. I wasn't going to fight Olivia if she wanted to have a relationship with her daughter. But raising Emily in our home? That was a step too far, too soon. Olivia was devastated by my response. She started crying, saying that I didn't understand what it felt like to have lost so much time with Emily, and now that she had a chance to make up for it, I was shutting it down. She said she needed my support, and I just couldn't give it to her. We argued for hours. Eventually, Olivia packed a bag and went to stay with her sister, who lives in the next town over. She told me she needed space to think, but I knew she was hurt. I felt horrible, but I also felt like I was backed into a corner. I didn't know what to do. In the days that followed, Olivia kept calling me. She kept telling me that I was being unreasonable, that if I truly loved her, I would support her in this decision. Her sister, Clara, also reached out, telling me I was wrong for not supporting Olivia. She said that if I truly cared about Olivia, I would understand how important this was to her. It felt like everyone was ganging up on me, making me feel like the villain in this situation. But here's the thing. I don't want to be forced into something I'm not ready for. I don't want to suddenly become a father to a child who isn't mine, especially one who I've never met. I love Olivia, but this is a huge responsibility, and I don't feel prepared for it. This whole situation has blindsided me, and I'm just trying to process it. I'm not against Emily being in our lives, but I'm not sure I'm ready to take on the role of her father. Olivia has been texting me, asking me to reconsider. She's telling me that I'm the one making this about me, but I don't know how to explain that this is just too much, too soon. I feel like she's not hearing my side of things. I love her, but I don't know if I can take on this role of being a father figure to a child who isn't mine. So, I'm asking you, Reddit, am I the butthole for telling my wife I don't want to raise another man's child? Or am I justified in not being ready for this huge change in our lives?